What if I told you that everything you know about learning is about to be turned upside down?
That the very methods you've been using to study, to acquire new skills, to grow professionally are actually working against you? Recent breakthroughs in neuroscience have uncovered a learning method so effective, so revolutionary, that it can accelerate your learning speed by up to 10 times. And the most shocking part? It has nothing to do with studying harder or putting in more hours. In fact, it's about studying less, but smarter. For decades, we've been following learning methods that were essentially guesswork. We highlighted textbooks, reread notes, crammed for exams, all because that's what everyone else was doing. But scientists at leading institutions like MIT and Stanford have been quietly working on a different approach.
They weren't looking for small improvements.
They were looking for a fundamental breakthrough in how we learn.
And what they found will change everything you thought you knew about learning. The research began with a simple question: why do some people learn so much faster than others? Is it genetics? Is it intelligence? The answer surprised everyone. It's neither. The fastest learners aren't necessarily smarter, they just understand how their brains work. They've stumbled upon methods that align with how our brains are actually wired to learn. Let me share with you the 3 key principles these scientists discovered. These aren't just theories. These are evidence-based methods that have been tested in controlled studies with remarkable results. The first principle is what researchers call active retrieval. This is the practice of pulling information from your brain rather than pushing it in. Here's how it works. Instead of rereading a chapter, you close the book and try to recall what you just learned. Instead of reviewing your notes, you put them away and explain the concepts out loud. This process of struggling to remember, that uncomfortable feeling of trying to recall information, is what actually builds strong neural pathways. Every time you successfully retrieve information, you're making it easier to access next time. It's like building a well-worn path through a forest. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. Now, I know what you're thinking, but that sounds difficult and uncomfortable. You're absolutely right. That's why most people avoid it. We naturally prefer the comfortable feeling of rereading material because it feels familiar. But that familiarity is an illusion. Just because something feels familiar doesn't mean you've learned it. Active retrieval is challenging, but that's exactly why it works so well. The struggle is where the learning happens. The second principle is spaced repetition. This is the opposite of cramming. Instead of studying for 5 hours straight, you study for 1 hour today, then review for 15 minutes tomorrow, then 10 minutes in 3 days, then 5 minutes in a week. This method leverages what scientists call the forgetting curve, the natural pattern of how our brains forget information. By reviewing material just as you're about to forget it, you strengthen the memory each time. It's like exercising a muscle. You don't get stronger by working out for 10 hours straight once a month. You get stronger by consistent, spaced-out workouts. The beautiful thing about spaced repetition is that it actually saves you time in the long run. Yes, it requires planning and consistency. But the total time you spend studying decreases dramatically while your retention increases exponentially. You're working with your brain's natural rhythms rather than against them. The third principle might be the most surprising: interleaving. This is the practice of mixing different subjects or skills during a study session. Instead of spending 2 hours on math alone, you might spend 30 minutes on math, 30 on history, 30 on language, and 30 on science. This feels counterintuitive because it's less efficient in the short term. You'll feel like you're making less progress in each individual subject. But that's exactly the point. When you interleave subjects, you're forcing your brain to constantly switch contexts and identify patterns.
This process builds what cognitive scientists call discriminative contrast. Your brain learns to distinguish between different types of problems and select the right strategies for each.
It's like cross-training for your braining. Just as athletes cross-train to build overall athleticism, learners who interleave build stronger, more flexible mental models.
Now, you might be wondering how to implement these principles in your daily life.
The good news is that you don't need fancy software or expensive courses.
You can start today with what you have. For active retrieval stimulation, simply make it a habit to test yourself regularly.
After reading a chapter, close the book and write down everything you remember. After a lecture, try to teach the concepts to someone else. For spaced repetition, you can use a simple calendar system or one of many free apps available. For interleaving, just mix up your study sessions. Switch between subjects every 30-45 minutes. The most remarkable thing about these methods is that they work for everyone, regardless of age, background, or subject matter. Whether you're learning a new language, studying for exams, or acquiring professional skills, these principles will help you learn faster and retain more. But here's the real secret. These methods work because they align with how your brain is naturally designed to learn. For thousands of years, humans learned through doing, through repetition, through variation. Modern education, with its focus on mass instruction and standardized testing, has taken us away from these natural learning patterns. These scientific principles are simply helping us return to what works. The implications are enormous. Imagine being able to learn a new language in months rather than years. Imagine mastering complex professional skills in weeks rather than months. Imagine finally having the time to learn all those things you've been putting off because you thought you didn't have the time or capacity. This isn't just about academic success or professional advancement. This is about unlocking your full potential as a learner. It's about becoming the person who can adapt to new challenges, acquire new skills, and thrive in a rapidly changing world. The research is clear. The methods are proven. All that's left is for you to take the first step. Start today with just one of these principles. Try active retrieval in your next study session. Experiment with spaced repetition in your schedule. Mix up your learning with interleaving. You don't need to implement everything at once. Just start. Because the truth is, you have an incredible learning machine sitting right between your ears. You just needed the manual to make it work properly. Now you have it. The question is, what will you learn first?